Back on.
Welcome to LCM TV News. I'm your host, Pete Schiffman. Happy 420. On the national news front, a nationwide terrorism investigation netted at least 6 arrests in San Diego and Minneapolis in connection with an investigation into young people who have traveled or attempted to go to Syria to fight with ISIS militants. More information is expected to be released today. 6 people were arrested Sunday in connection with the terrorism investigation in Minnesota. A spokesman for the Minnesota U.S. Attorney's Office has said there is no threat to public safety. Authorities say a handful of Minnesota residents have traveled to Syria to fight with militants within the last year. At least one Minnesotan has died while fighting for the Islamic State. As many as 700 migrants are believed to have died in a shipwreck off the Libyan coast, piling pressure on European leaders to find a solution to a spiraling migration crisis in the face of growing chaos in Libya and anti-immigration sentiment at home. The 20-meter-long fishing boat sank on what has become the deadliest migrant route in the world, the crossing from Libya to the Italian island of Lampedusa, after launching a distress call early Sunday. The Italians sent a Portuguese mercantile vessel to help with the boat near the Libyan coast, but when the migrants, mostly sub-Saharan Africans, saw it approach, they rushed to one side, capsizing the boat, the Coast Guard said. These latest deaths, if confirmed, would mark one of the largest losses of migrant lives, bringing the number of people who have died attempting the passage this year to about 1,600. The FBI has admitted that they have exaggerated forensic hair evidence for 2 decades, ending in 2000, according to the Washington Post. A review has found that 26 out of 28 forensic hair analysis overstated evidence in 95% of the 268 trials examined so far. The FBI and Justice Department acknowledged the errors and said that they are notifying defendants of past errors and that justice is done in every instance. In Baltimore, officials launched a criminal probe of the circumstances involving the death Sunday of a 25-year-old African-American man who was treated for spinal injuries following his arrest by city police last week. I want citizens to know exactly how it happened, and if necessary, I will ensure we will hold the right people accountable, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake said Sunday during a City Hall news conference, flanked by the Police Commissioner Anthony Batts. The city's chief prosecutor, Marilyn Mosby, is involved in a probe of an unknown number of city police officers who took part in Freddie Gray's arrest on April 12th, again, city officials said. An independent review board will also examine police officers' interactions with Mr. Gray, Mr. Batts said. Mr. Gray's spine was 80% severed at his neck while he was in police custody. He lapsed into a coma and underwent surgery on April 13th before dying at 7 a.m. on Sunday. The biggest gathering yet of Republican presidential hopefuls this past weekend sharpened divisions in the broad field of candidates over the path to return the GOP to the White House, making the 2016 primary race a moment for the party to define its national identity. On one side are Jeb Bush and Senators Rand Paul and Lindsey Graham, who emphasize that the party's nominee needs to reach beyond the GOP's base of mostly white, older conservative voters, given how the general electorate is growing increasingly diverse. On the other side sits a handful of presidential contenders, including Senator Ted Cruz and Louisiana Governor Bobby Hindal, who say the party's nominee needs to be a dedicated conservative who can mobilize the religious right to turn out in droves in 2016. Party leaders say Republicans can't afford to choose between the two approaches. The party's nominee has to both excite grassroots conservatives and tap slices of electorate that don't lean traditional Republican. A new blood test shows promise in the fight against cancer. Called the liquid biopsy, scientists believe they can find tiny snippets of cancer DNA in a patient's blood. Currently, the usual cancer biopsy is invasive as the surgeon cuts out a piece of the patient's tumor. This would allow physicians to repeat biopsies weekly to improve monitoring of tumors, something that cannot be done with the present surgical methods. On the eve of the de facto cannabis holiday of April 20th, known as 420, trauma neurosurgeon and journalist Dr. Sanjay Gupta, once a candidate for U.S. Surgeon General, fires yet another salvo at the plant's federal prohibition. President Obama endorsed the legalization of medical marijuana in the CNN special Weed 3 by Dr. Sanjay Gupta last night. Dr. Gupta asked if President Obama if he supports Senate-level efforts to officially end the federal war on medicinal marijuana. The president told Gupta he'd need to examine the details, but I'm on record as saying that not only do I think carefully prescribed medical use of marijuana may in fact be appropriate, and we should follow the science as opposed to ideology on this issue, but I'm also on record as saying that the more we treat some of these issues related to drug abuse from public health model, and not just from an incarceration model, the better off we're going to be. America can decrease social harms without necessarily using steel cages, the president indicated, stating, "One of the great victories of this country has been our ability to reduce instances of smoking, increase the instances of seatbelt use," Obama said. "You know, we save tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives every single year. We didn't throw anyone in jail. We just made sure they were all well informed, and if somebody has an addiction, we make sure that we made it easy for them to get help." And I think we need to re-emphasize that approach, because we don't want to encourage our kids to engage in drug use, but there are going to be more effective ways than, too often, the approach we're taking today. Weed 3 offers one of the highest profile platforms in history for telling the stories of patients saved by medical marijuana. Dr. Gupta focuses on the case for raw cannabis for symptoms of PTSD and sickle cell anemia as an alternative to deadly pain medication. Dr. Gupta says America has been systematically misled about cannabis, and the nation needs a medical marijuana revolution, stating, "There is now promising research in the use of marijuana that could impact tens of thousands of children and adults, including treatment for cancer, epilepsy, and Alzheimer's, to name a few." With regard to pain alone, marijuana could greatly reduce the demand for narcotics and simultaneously decrease the number of accidental painkiller overdoses, which are the greatest cause of preventable death in this country. That'll be a break for now. We'll be coming back soon with the regional news. Stay tuned, folks.
The taxman's taken all my dough and left me in my stately home, blazing on a sunny afternoon. And I can't sail my yacht, he's taken everything I got. All I've got's this sunny afternoon.
Manticorp Tax and Accounting can help you minimize taxation, establish a corporate presence, and save you money. Our over 25 years of experience in domestic and international taxation and incorporation services makes us the best at what we do. Your first consultation at Manticorp is always free, and our discounted rates guarantee you will not end up paying for what you don't get. Try Manticorp today. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@manticorpusa.com.
In the summertime.
Welcome back, folks. With regional news, thousands are expected to flood Hippie Hill in San Francisco's Golden Park today for the annual 420 celebration by marijuana enthusiasts. Last year, San Francisco spent $100,000 on extra police and cleanup. Store owners, however, say the celebration is good for business. In Santa Cruz, the annual celebration takes place at the Porter Meadow College, although the University of California, Santa Cruz does not sanction the event. Last year, about 2,000 marijuana smokers were in attendance. Celebrations will be held nationwide, with a party today at Triple C Dispensary in Clear Lake, and specials offered at local smoke shops. Orange County Dispensary, locating startup, weedmaps.com, contributed more than $1 million Friday to a campaign committee called Californians for Sensible Reform, which will back what it feels will be the strongest marijuana legalization measure on the 2016 ballot. A move that not only would vastly expand its customer base, but also foreshadows an expected increase in political activity from the cannabis industry. We're doing it because legal adult use of marijuana is inevitable. California has always been an innovator, and we're falling behind other states, Weedmaps founder Justin Hartfield said. We wanted to do it and make a statement that we're serious about this. Friday's donation was a sign that unlike 2010's failed statewide legalization campaign, cannabis industry businesses are going to be major players. State regulators are working on a second draft of water reduction rules for California. Forcing a 25% cut in urban water use by Californians in the fourth year of a drought will be difficult. This was evident by the 250 complaints the State Water Resources Control Board received. The first draft, which has a set of 4 tiers, with cuts from 10 to 35%, has been expanded to 9 tiers, with cuts ranging from 4 to 36%. State officials intend to adopt the final order in May, with enforcement starting in the middle of July. Fines for failing to adhere to these new restrictions may cost up to $10,000 a day. California Attorney General Kamala Harris announced the results of an internal California Department of Justice 80-day review. The review of the Special Agents Training Program on Bias and Use of Force. This is part of an effort to address the crisis of confidence in law enforcement within California communities. As part of the review process, the division trained all command-level staff and 24 special agents in a fair and impartial policing and implicit bias, and expects to train the remainder of agents by the end of May. The division will also institute a body camera policy for all departments of justice special agents conducting field operations. A gas line was hit by earth-moving equipment being run by a Fresno County work crew, creating a huge explosion, injuring 16 people, 7 of which are still in the hospital. The crew is working on a berm at the Fresno County Sheriff gun range when the explosion occurred. A tour bus caught fire in Southern California desert, prompting the driver and 52 passengers to evacuate before the bus became engulfed in flames. San Bernardino County fire officials say the bus was traveling from Laughlin, Nevada to Ventura Sunday afternoon when the bus caught fire on Interstate 40. The bus driver said he heard what sounded like a rear tire exploding and pulled over. When he got out, he saw the back of the bus on fire. Fire spokesman Dean Dickover said the passenger safety evacuated. One passenger had a respiratory emergency, and 3 others suffered heat-related problems. Dickover said the passengers were stranded in 90-degree heat until emergency crews arrived. The bus, operated by San Luis Obispo-based Silverado Stages, appeared to be a near total loss. The California measles outbreak that began in December 2014 is now over. It was announced today by Dr. Karen Smith, Director of the California Department of Public Health, and the State Health Officer. No new outbreak-related measles cases have been reported to the California Department of Public Health for 42 days, allowing public health officials to declare the outbreak that infected 131 Californians is now over. Since December, 131 measles cases have been reported to CDPH that are likely linked to this outbreak. Measles is not endemic in California, but can circulate when a contagious infected person enters the state and exposes others. 42 cases were directly linked to initial exposure in December at Disneyland or Disneyland California Adventure Park in Anaheim, California. Additional cases were secondary to those. Several hundred Californians visited the state capitol last Wednesday to oppose a bill that would eliminate the right not to vaccinate their children against contagious diseases like measles. They were unable to help stall a committee vote on the legislation by a week. William Shatner, mostly known for his role as Captain Kirk on the TV and movie series Star Trek, has proposed a $30 billion water pipeline from Seattle to save California from drought. He plans to raise the funding through a Kickstarter campaign. He said, "How bad would it be to get a large 4-foot pipeline, keep it above ground, because if it leaks, you're irrigating. Bring it down here and fill one of our lakes." A lawsuit to legalize prostitution in California was filed by the advocacy group Erotic Services Providers Legal Education and Research Project in March, calling the current laws an unconstitutional violation of equal protection and free speech rights. The lawsuit alleges that California's criminalizing of prostitution deprives sex workers of the rights to participate in a private, consensual activity. Plaintiffs include 3 women who want to work legally as prostitutes and a disabled man who says he wants to legally pay for sex. California formally outlawed prostitution in 1961. It's a haunted mansion sleepover for grown-ups. The city of San Jose has approved an overnight permit for the Winchester Mystery House and will allow alcohol to be served there. The Winchester Mystery House, the creepiest house in Silicon Valley, was built by Winchester gun heiress Sarah Winchester, widow of William Wirt Winchester, son of the first president of the Winchester Repeating Arms Company, over a period of almost 40 years. With 160 rooms, the mega mansion is a 6-acre labyrinth of false doors and stairs that lead absolutely nowhere. Additions reportedly made by Winchester to confuse the spirits of people shot and killed by firearms of her dead husband's namesake. In the middle of San Jose, surrounded by startups and tech campuses, the mansion has stood since the 1880s, but has never been permitted for lodging, let alone site-wide booze consumption, until now. A special use permit approved March 5th by the San Jose Planning Department would allow overnight guests at the city landmark, but it doesn't look like the existing bedrooms in the structure are included in the permit. Instead, a staff report singles out certain structures on the site, including the pump house, caretaker's residence, and the foreman's quarters as lodging possibilities. The target market won't be traditional travelers, but rather those who want the full Winchester Mystery House experience. In addition, the city approved converting the existing cafe to a bona fide restaurant open to the public, not just guests at the attraction. Winchester Investments LLC, the owner of the business, was also granted approval to allow the consumption of alcohol across the entire site, except the parking lot. This will presumably boost the attraction's events business. We're taking a break now. We'll be back in a minute, folks, with our local news.
SSS Multimedia is sending you smoke signals, providing their clients with the ultimate communication and multimedia marketing, distribution, production, and web-based services. They feature high-def video equipment and quality audio sound. SSS is your multimedia source, from graphics for business cards to television production, radio, live sound, and everything in between. SSS is sending you smoke signals. Get your message out with SSS Multimedia. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@sssmultimedia.com.
In local news, a Middletown attempted kidnapping report was made up. Detective Kelly Joseph of the Lake County Sheriff's Department, who was assigned as the lead detective in a reported attempted kidnapping case, learned during investigation that the attempted kidnapping did not occur. On March 23rd, deputies responded to a report of an attempted kidnapping of a juvenile female in Middletown. The area was searched in an attempt to locate the suspect with no results. Detectives responded and canvassed the area in an attempt to locate any surveillance video of the suspect from businesses and homeowners. Later, it was determined the story was made up by the juvenile. A progress report regarding a proposed solar energy field was presented to the Lakeport City Council this week. The project stems from the Council's July 14th meeting last year. during which Siemens Industry asked the council to consider an audit for the installation of a solar array. Council members directed staff to research available programs and funding options. The Lake County housing market picked up steam as both existing home sales and prices increased over the last month. The median Lake County home price went up almost 25%, jumping from $180,000 in February to $224,000 in March. Home sales grew at a faster rate than active listings in March, resulting in a decline in the available supply of existing single-family detached homes. On the other hand, mortgage rates increased in March, with a 30-year fixed mortgage interest rate averaging 3.77%, up from 3.71% in February. The Lake County Board of Supervisors will meet tomorrow, Tuesday, April 21st. On the agenda, among other items, are to approve an agreement between the County of Lake and PJ Helicopters for the fiscal year of 2015 and 16, for marijuana reconnaissance and eradication on public and private lands in the amount of $60,000. To approve an agreement between Lake County Sheriff's Office and the U.S. Department of Justice and the Drug Enforcement Administration, again fiscal year 2015-16, for marijuana eradication in the amount of $200,000. In addition, to approve an amendment to an agreement between the County of Lake and A&P Helicopters for the fiscal year of 2014 and 15 for marijuana reconnaissance and eradication on public and private land, an increase of $20,000 not to exceed $80,000, and authorize the chair to sign. To approve increases in purchase costs for vehicles approved at the last meeting. Lake County Office of Education, Career, and College Readiness Department, located at 14092 Lakeshore Drive in Clear Lake, suspended testing services in Lake County as of April 11th. To locate a test center or register for the GED and Personal View exams, go to www.pearsonview.com. To locate a test center or register for the high-set exam, go to http://hiset.ets.org. Yuba College Clear Lake is now a host site for this exam. However, any inquiries should go through the HiSET website. The Clear Lake office will continue to issue a transcript for those people that took the GED prior to 2002. You may call 994-9001 for more information. The Lake County A's, a chapter of the Model A Ford Club of America, will hold a spring event from May 1st through May 3rd in Lake County. The event will be headquartered at the Lodge at Blue Lakes, and participating Model A's will line up at the Upper Lake Park for the Grand Tour starting at 8:30 a.m. on Saturday, May 2nd. The cars will depart at 9 a.m. for a drive around Clear Lake. A tire amnesty event will take place from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. this Tuesday and Wednesday in front of Canocti Vista Casino in Lakeport. Free drop-off of passenger and pickup truck tires is available, although tires with rims must be smaller than 25 inches. Bicycle or motorcycle tires will also be accepted. In sports, in women's softball, 13 innings after it started, the Clear Lake Cardinals got the job done. In a pitcher's duel, Rachel Wingler outdueled Cloverdale's Tian Edens, and the Cardinals ended a 5-game losing streak to the Eagles, two-time defending North Central League I champions, with a 2-1 victory in 13 innings on Friday afternoon in Lakeport. It was the first league loss for the season for Cloverdale, who is now 4-1, and Clear Lake's 5th straight league win. At Lower Lake, Shelby Harris carried a no-hitter into the 5th inning and settled for a 1-hitter as the Lower Lake Trojans, who were 4-0 in conference and 12-2 overall, moved into sole possession of first place in the NCL 1 standings with a 5-inning victory over Fort Bragg Timberwolves. At Middletown, Hannah Flynn smacked a 2-run home run, and Olivia Glosser added a solo shot to back the one-hit pitching of Renee Edwards as Middletown Mustangs knocked off the Willis Wolverines. Middletown, 3-3 in conference and 8-6 overall, snapped a 1-1 tie with a 6-run bottom of the third. 2 of those runs scoring on Flynn's drive to right center field. Glosser homered in the 5th to right field. In baseball, Lower Lake took on Fort Bragg, beating them 4-1. Tony Jones pitched a 5-hitter, and the Lower Lake Trojans snapped a 45-game losing streak with a victory over Fort Bragg Timberwolves. Lower Lake, 1-7 now in conference play and 4-12 overall, scored all 4 of his runs after 2 were out in the bottom of the second inning to go up 4-0. Consecutive hits by Ryan McCarthy had an RBI single, Anthony Williams with a 2-run W, and Ian Stiles, an RBI single, did the damage. In other action, Kelseyville beat St. Helena 16-4, Clear Lake 3 over Cloverdale 2, Willett 7, Middletown 6, and Calistoga 5, who beat Upper Lake, had scored 1 run. In today's weather, today will be mostly sunny with highs around 84 degrees. Winds are out of the north-northwest at 8 miles per hour, gusting up to 13. Tonight will be partly cloudy with lows around 55 degrees. Westerly winds at 8 miles per hour, gusting to 13 miles per hour. On Tuesday, there's a chance of isolated storms with partly cloudy skies. Highs around 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds westerly at 8 miles per hour, gusting up to 13 again. There is a 20% chance of rain. In the evening, there will be isolated storms with lows around 54 degrees. Southwest winds from 8 miles per hour, gusting to 13 miles per hour with a 30% chance of rain. Wednesday, with partly cloudy with isolated showers. Highs around 70 degrees with a light wind and a 30% chance of rain. And now our final word. The principal of W.F. Burns Middle School in Valley, Alabama, sent home a letter to parents with her suggestions on how to train students in the event an active shooter breaks into the classroom. In order not to be sitting ducks for the intruder, each child was asked to be armed with an 8-ounce canned food item to toss at any potential spree killer. The can is designed to give the student a sense of empowerment in the face of extreme danger, the principal said. Folks, thank you for joining us for our news at noon. This will be replayed at 6:30 this evening and again tomorrow at 12 o'clock. We'll see you live next time on Wednesday at 12 o'clock. Thank you for joining us.
You are invited to participate in a true multimedia experience coming to a home near you. LCM TV is bringing Lake County into the new millennium with news, live broadcast, information, music, talk shows, and local programming, all streaming in high definition online and soon to be on your Roku box. Join us at lcm-tv.com or be a part of our studio audience. You can also watch the shows at lakecomagazine.com as we provide programming to inform, enlighten, and maybe even enrage you. On Lake County Magazine Talk Show with Terry and Pete the Tax Guy, Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Like racing? Try the Checkered Flag Show, hosted by Ace Naylor on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. All ages and divisions in regional and national fields. Joni Lane brings a positive light to you every Monday at 3 p.m. Pasha Space brings an international flair as they discuss ecological, health, and social issues in Haiti with people around the world. End up your week with positive, conscious sounds on Saturday at 9 a.m. with Sister T on the Bridge. This show is also simulcast on KMEC 105.1 FM in Ukiah. Our latest show, LCM TV News, is brought to you live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, and rebroadcast at 6:30 p.m. and noon daily, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring national, regional, and local news, weather, and sports. We have it all here for you on your local TV station, LCM TV. Join us online and soon on Roku, giving you access to all the best Lake County has to offer. We are LCMTV.com, your multimedia connection. Tune in for the fun. It's live TV at its best.